Hello and welcome back to Saber Outdoors. My name, of course, is Mark Alexander, your wonderful host. And guys, today we are testing spinning rods versus BFS setups. Guys, we're gonna give a look, see, compare, contrast all the stuff. Now, right now, we're walking down to a special location, one I've never been to before. This is Yamacraw River access. Guys, it's really pretty down here. Guys, I can't believe how nice it looks. So let me get to some flat-ish ground, and I'll give you kind of a twirl to give you a look. So here's what I see. Guys, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm loving where I'm at. Guys, we're gonna get out on these rocks and get set up, and we'll start talking about the subject of the day. All right, guys, so I've got our competitors here, and let me tell you exactly which ones they are. This is, of course, the Sienna 1000. You can watch that video, too, on the channel. I reviewed this whole thing, and it's on a Lew's ultralight rod, and we're going to throw on both lures the same bait each time we're testing it. We're going to start kind of up here, and then we're eventually going to go down to a 1/32 ounce. So don't run off. But guys, we're starting out with a Joe Fly's Super Striker, and this is in an 1/8 ounce. So guys, we're just going to throw it into the river and see how it does. Now, before I run off, I almost did. Our other competitor is the Cast King Valiant Eagle. Guys, I bought this for my first video, and it is on an Elite Hunter medium power fast action rod. Guys, I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't know which one is gonna be like my favorite, but we're gonna give it a try with both. But we're gonna start with these 1/8 ounce baits and work our way down. I'm gonna put you looking at the water so you can kind of halfway keep up with how far they cast, how easy they are to work with, all the things that you care about. But I'm gonna get you looking at the water. There you are. I'm gonna step up to the edge. And guys, this is gonna be 100% subjective. It's gonna be how I feel about the things. So, not bad. I don't expect to catch anything today because it is frightfully cold. Okay, this feels really good in the hands. Let's try. Really nice. I can be relatively accurate with this. Now with a BFS rod, I had the advantage of a bait caster, and this bait caster, off the top of my head, I don't remember what the ratio is, but it says on the bottom it is 6.6 to 1. So that's higher ratio than you're usually going to find in most spinning reels. But for an 1/8 ounce, works great. I can get it plumb across this little stretch of river. I can slow it down. I can quickly speed it up. This feels really good in the hands. And for somebody like myself who prefers a bait caster, this feels really natural to me. But I can definitely say that this, I don't believe, casts as far as the other. For a maximum cast on this, I'm going to set you looking at this shoreline, and I'm going to cast even with the camera so you can see me. I'm going to cast as far as I can and walk to it so you can see how far it is. All right, guys, I'm going to leave the rod here. I'm going to walk over there. Alright guys, so right here is where I casted. So this is as far as you can cast this way. And what I'm going to do All right, guys, so we have our other setup here. Again, we have our same lure on. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna throw around here real quick like and see how it feels. So we're just gonna throw it out. A lot easier to cast, a lot easier. Feels really good in the hands. Now, of course, this reel doesn't have near the amount of speed as the other one. This, let me see if I can figure it out here somewhere on this thing. I believe it is a 5-to-1 gear ratio. You may have to go back to that Sienna video to find out. But guys, with one hand, I can easily throw this every bit as far as I can that other setup with two. This feels a lot more natural to me. I can use one hand and just lazily throw it, and it's going to go a long ways. So far I'm really liking this. And also I don't have the possibility of a bird's nest because it's a spinning rod. Might get a wind knot, but not a bird's nest. Yeah, this feels a lot more natural to me. I like this a lot. But guys, let's do exactly the same kind of test we did before. I'm gonna put you looking down the riverbank, and I'm gonna cast it as far as I can in one shot. So, all right, I'm gonna walk over there and see how far that is. All right, guys, so we have changed baits. We are now throwing an 1/8 ounce rooster tail. I don't know if you can read that, but rooster tails, as long as the blade is not painted, the size of the weight is actually printed on that particular blade. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but I've got two 1/8 ounce ones of these, and guys, I'm gonna give them a try. Now I do have to readjust my reel, of course, but that should not be a big deal. Okay, so I've got a nice slow fall, and I'm gonna up my brakes a little bit, like one click. But let me put you looking at the water. That's trouble with filming on a rock bank. It's a little bit difficult to find somewhat flat ground. But let's just give it a test and see how it does. So, okay. So it's still cast almost across the entire thing. Feels good to reel back. I definitely have more power with this. You know, I feel like if I had a big fish on, I would be more confident in this setup. Now, granted, this is a heavier rod than the other rod. The other rod's technically called an ultralight. I would call it a light action myself. But this medium power still can cast this not eighth. I said, did I say eighth? 16th, maybe. Let me, guys. Now I'm not trusting myself. Yes, 1/8 ounce rooster tail. Cast it almost as far, almost as well as that Super Striker. And I do realize that these are the same weight as the Super Striker, but look at how different the design is. Super Striker has a huge blade and 2 hooks on it, which makes it significantly heavier than this. But guys, let's give it one more shot. Feels really good though. But let's get this one in. Guys, we're gonna do the same thing we've been doing. I'm gonna turn you towards the spot. Let me get you kind of halfway stable. And I'm gonna cast it at that stack of rocks that I see over there. All right, and we're gonna set this on the ground. This time we're actually gonna go get them both at the same time. So I'm gonna set this directly under the camera in front of me. And I'm gonna grab our Sienna, which is right behind me. And we're just gonna get directly to testing. So let me turn you back towards the river. And guys, you can see, same size, same setup. And we're just gonna cast it a few times and see how it feels. This feels like it cast a little bit farther and easier than the other, but bringing it back through the water is definitely more of a chore with this lighter setup and lighter gear. But I mean, you all are about to fall. I don't want you all to fall, but I can still, with one hand, cast this, and it feels on the surface easier than the other. So let's give her one more cast, and then we'll do a max distance cast. Well, that current is strong out in that main part. As soon as I get it up in the eddy, it feels like a completely different bait. But guys, that's got the first few casts over with. Let me turn you all back, looking away. Get you all stabled. Last thing I need is for my camera to go flying into the river. But guys, got my bait caster at my feet. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna cast at those same 4 rocks and see which one did better, or did they do the same. I'll be right back with some results. All right, guys, I have both baits in front of me. The bait caster, the BFS setup, did about a foot, maybe a little less, better than the spinning setup, but I am significantly farther away from my first mark. Let me show you how far. It's about 2-3 big steps. Back here is my first mark, so I have about a reduction of 7 feet. So definitely a difference from our first bait, but let's get another bait tied on, and let's try some more stuff. All right, guys, I've got our next bait tied on, and that bait is a 1/16 ounce rooster tail. Again, I don't know if you can see that on the blade, but guys, we are halving our weights from here forth. So this particular weight is 1/16 ounce. The next thing we do, 32nd ounce. But guys, let me get my bait caster adjusted. Woo! This is really, really light. I'm not sure how well this will throw. But guys, I'm gonna move you where you can see me throwing at the water. So guys, let's give it a shot and hope that we don't bird nest it. Okay, it throws almost the same distance. That's wild. Boy, that little blade out there is just doing its thing like crazy. Let's give it another shot just straight. Oh, almost bird nested it. Guys, that's the disadvantage of this, is you have to watch it. Luckily, my bait just tumbled down the way instead of getting hung up. So let's try her one more time. Not a problem. Guys, this probably would take some getting used to, but I can do this. You know, I can cast a 16th ounce bait. Let's try just one sidearm. Okay, a little tiny bit farther. But that is quite a surprise. I didn't expect it to do quite that well. But guys, let me get you turned around. I've got 2 rocks on the ground that I'm using to kind of locate my stand, so I have a relatively consistent deal doing this. So I see my 2 rock piles. I did build another one where the other 2 baits were. So I'm gonna give it as much cast as I can towards both of those. And I think I actually made it almost the same distance. So I'm gonna lay this down, and I'm gonna pick up my other rod, and we're gonna immediately start testing with it. So, guys, of course these aren't the same color, but they're the same everything else. Let me make sure I get this right. So, there you go. So let's try this out with, okay, a little bit farther, at least on face value. Definitely feels heavier in the water with this setup, but it feels, to me, it feels easier to adjust my brain to slow rolling this and seeing if anything bites. Which, guys, I told you in the beginning, I don't expect anything to bite during this video, but hey, if we catch one, I'm not gonna be mad. I'm actually gonna be elated. But let's give it one more. I thought for a second I got it in the tree. I was about to say, surely I didn't just do what I think I just did. So let's get it reeled in. And guys, let me get you back on your rocks. And let's give it that same cast. I think this might have done just a tiny bit better. But I'm going to set them directly next to each other and go crawl over there. Make sure you all are going to stay sitting. guys, we're back here with the smallest size we're testing today. Guys, if you're a longtime viewer, you will recognize this as one of my old faithfuls, but this one's yellow. I usually throw black, but I wanted to have a different color than black in order to be able to tell, you know, which rod I'm actually using. So this one is yellow, but guys, this is 32nd ounce, and I am concerned. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how well this is gonna throw it. That looks good enough to me. So let me get you looking at the water, and let me try my luck with it and see what it does. I don't know if it's okay. It immediately hit the water and bird nested the reel. So I'm gonna have to throw it softer than I have been. And guys, we're pushing the limits of a BFS setup with this particular bait, but I still think I can get it out there. Not quite as far as the others, of course, but I can still get it out there with this setup. Even though this is teeny tiny, this is the kind of thing you would fish for trout or really nice bluegill. I've caught a ton of good bluegill off of this, but do it just like that there. Guys, let me try a little bonus thing for you. So there is a technique that I use to get light lures like this a little bit farther with this bait casting setup. What I do, I will actually spin them to get me some force built up, and then I will throw them. Let me try that out and see what it does for me. I casted it farther, but it went somewhere I didn't intend it to. Let me try it again. Okay, so it cast a little bit farther, but it's difficult to control, especially with you where you are. I want to cast it a little bit differently, but let me try it one more time to see what kind of distance I get. Let me just overhand it. Guys, you got to watch this thing. It is temperamental with this light of a setup on it. I said one last time, but I lied. I said one last time, but I lied. Okay, that was probably our best cast. So we got most of the way across this little section of Yamacraw. But let me turn you looking the other way, and let's see how far I can get it on my absolute best cast. And I'm not going to do the little spinny trick, because I want this to be an apples to apples comparison, and I'm not going to do that for the other. So let's just cast it straight out. Get our bird nest out. All right, guys, I'm gonna set this down and I'm gonna grab my other setup. All right, other setup in hand. We'll get you looking back at the water and everything. Now this is Old Faithful that you're all used to, black. But guys, we're gonna give it a cast about as far, really, but a lot more confidence. I knew that I wasn't gonna bird nest it. Let's throw it over straight across. Again, more confidence. I knew that I wasn't going to bird nest it, so I didn't feel like I was needing to hold back at all. One more time. Probably as far as my best cast with the other. All right, guys, here's the meat and potatoes. Let's get you all on your rocks, and let's get it casted straight out. Now let's go see what that looks like as far as comparing distance. Now, I have been just walking away. This time I'm actually going to take you with me, because, you know, it's difficult to hear me that far away, but also you all might not be able to fully understand the length of the distance of these two lures as they're going across here. Now, I've got to kind of watch myself and not get into any of these pools if I can help it. I'm following my line though to wherever my lure is. I think I found the yellow one. Okay, so right here is our yellow. So that is our bait caster, and you can see it's that distance there. Now our black one, it's right there. So guys, let me make a little rock pile here. Set me a few rocks here so that I can find this location easily again. There. So that's where my setup ended there. And again, the bait caster did better, but not by a ton. That's probably, actually it's more distance than I first thought. It's probably 4 or 5 feet difference. But let's go compare all of our other distances if I don't fall down in this slick rocks. Yep, both feet are wet now. Might as well just accept it. But we have all of our rock piles now where we can see them. So you can see our rock pile over there is our 32nd ounce. This rock pile right here, this is our 16th ounce, and that's our farthest one. This is our 8th ounce rooster tail, and that's where that farthest one ended up. Now back here is where that very first one that we threw, the Joe Fly, that's how far that distance is. So the Joe Fly is definitely the longest distance one, but guys, 3 out of 4, the bait caster won. So guys, let me get my stuff gathered up and I'll talk to you about all the things that I've come up with. All right guys, so we have tested from a heavy 8th ounce lure down to a 32nd ounce Old Faithful spinning, I'll eventually get it out, rooster tail, a 32nd ounce rooster tail. But guys, we have both of our combos here. What can we draw? What conclusions? So now that I have done the comparison 1-to-1 against these two, I am super impressed with this Cast King Valiant Eagle. I am super impressed because there's no possible way I thought that it would do as well as my Shimano Sienna 1000 at the things that it did. You know, I didn't think that it would cast the lightest lure farther than this rod. And guys, I could even probably get more distance out of this if I used it more than once in a long while. But guys, I was so impressed. Now, as far as which one I'm going to be using the most, I probably will still use them both a lot. I'm going to use this one a lot more now that I know that a BFS setup really is every bit as good as a spinning setup. And guys, this is all stock stuff. You can improve these BFS reels with better bearings, with a lighter spool, with lots of tips and tricks and things that I don't know how to do exactly, but maybe I'm gonna have to pick me up some hop-ups to be able to cast something really stupidly light on this. Maybe I might even be able to cast a little 64th ounce jig, but at that point you're almost fly fishing, so you know, do you really want to? but it would cast my 32nd ounce better than it already does. Now guys, which one do I suggest for somebody that's brand new to fishing? Spinning, all day spinning. But which one do I suggest wins this? It has to be the one that won 3 out of 4 for distance. It has to be the bait caster, the BFS, the bait finesse system. This one has to be the winner. But guys, this is very temperamental and it takes time to get used to. So this is not what I would suggest for a beginner. I would always go with a spinning rod. But guys, that's all there is to this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the bell notification, and subscribe. We are pushing 4,000 subscribers, and you could be just one more step towards my goals. But in the meantime, thanks again for watching. We'll see you somewhere in the woods or on the water.